Hey guys, Maxx Airsoft here, and today we'll be installing the Polarstar Kythera semi-automatic M4 V2 HPA unit into the Novritsch SSR4 metal version. We'll also be replacing the standard 603mm brass barrel with the maple leaf 602mm stainless steel coated precision inner barrel, which is 310mm in length, and the Maxx Model M4 Pro hop-up chamber, as well as the maple leaf 60 degrees macaron hop-up bucking and a custom integral grip line from Amped Airsoft with my own name on it. Being a German airsofter, I had the unique experience of going through the process of redeclaring the F marking at the so-called Büchsenmacher. This step is crucial to ensure that any changes we make to the internal components affecting the output energy are officially licensed. There were some challenges along the installing process. I'll let you know valuable tips based on my own trial and error experiences. For this tutorial, we assume you already know how to access your gearbox, since it's a standard AR15 M4 V2 gearbox system that sets apart like all the others in a few steps. If you need a refresher or if you're new to this, please check out my previous video where I walk you through the step-by-step process of opening up your replica up to the gearbox. Let's get started. First off, I want to measure the output energy with the electronic system and the standard 1.5 joule spring. So yes, we are landing around 1.5 joule, measuring 395 to 407 FPS. We have a difference of maximum 12 FPS per shot. I chronoed with 0.2 gram BBs as declared on the Novritsch website. Alright, let's open up the gearbox with its 9 screws and lift it. All we have to do is to throw out the internals so we are left with the blanks. Then I cleaned it from all the grease. When you go for the standard Polarstar IGL, you're good to go. But if you're replacing it with a custom line like me, then you need to get some more space in the box by sanding down this cable guide metal edge. This ensures the line doesn't get bent. Now we also need to extend the little hole of the pistol grip so the IGL fits through. I used a Dremel. The spring guide takes apart with only one screw, but for more space I shortened it even further. Now we can already put the engine into its place by aligning the notch with the pin of the gearbox. Guide the airline along the outer gearbox so you're not bending it, and use the existing cable output on the bottom. You can guide the reset latch either through the same hole or use the spring guide output to have it sitting in the buffer tube like me. For that you need to extend it though, otherwise it's too short to reach later on. As long as you don't pull the trigger when there's no airline attached, you don't have to worry about resetting or reloading it again. All there's actually left to do is to close up the gearbox again just like you opened it. Push it back into the lower receiver and align it with the gearbox and receiver pinholes. Push back in the pins and screw in the magazine release button. Installing the buffer tube is a bit tricky though, and it took me a while to align everything again. You can use the side entry to keep the spring guide stable with your thumb and index finger while screwing back the buffer tube. For now it seems perfect, but we've got a problem here. There's a little gap between the engine and the gearbox end, which obviously leads to a gap between the hop-up rubber and therefore to loss of energy. It must be fit tight, so it's air sealed for 100% energy into the inner barrel. To test that, I installed it and went for a chrono. Here's what happened. With around 140 psi, we started at 380 FPS. This number seems way too less for 140 psi, which I'll confirm later. In addition, after some shots, the engine slipped back and caused even more loss of energy. I'm not sure if this is seen in other V2 gearboxes, but as far as I know of today, Polarstar doesn't provide a spacer ring yet. I heard them talking about it in one of their videos though. I measured the gap, which is 0.82mm in my case, designed the spacer in FreeCAD and printed it on my Anycubic Cobra 3D printer with the standard PLA material. If you need the ready to print file, I've linked it in the description. Well, it fits perfectly. That's one problem less. Now we're at the point to check if the standard M4 V2 nozzle, called #1, seals the hop-up rubber perfectly, without touching the engine with the metal frame of the Maxx hop-up chamber. The nozzle must push the rubber, therefore the inner barrel, so there's a slight pressure on the spring, pushing the chamber and inner barrel into the outer barrel. The gap between the engine and the chamber should be around 0.6 to 0.9mm, and you can only achieve it by seeing and feeling. In the case of of the Novritsch gearbox, the gap isn't big enough, leading to an inefficient air seal on the rubber. So I purchased a slightly longer nozzle, the Polarstar #12, which is meant for AK-47 models. It is only 0.254mm longer than the standard nozzle, but it makes the difference. First I wasn't sure if it would still feed the BBs properly, but it does. Here we are. That's air sealed and 100% efficient. To confirm, let's see how much FPS we got compared to before. With the same pressure of 140 psi, we are landing 450 to 447 FPS compared to 380 FPS. That's an increase of 70 FPS only because of the slightly longer nozzle and the correct air seal. Alright, there we have it. At that point it's time to get it licensed when you live in Germany. If you want to know more about it, please let me know in the comments. I'm really happy with the result and the performance of the Kythera. But if you ask me if I'd install it again, I'll answer no. And yes, being independent of a battery is good. Having the real feel of a firearm, Polarstar claims, and I can confirm, with the trigger pull and recoil feels good. And the relatively low price is another positive point. But you won't ever get this build as quiet as with an electronically magnetic powered HPA system like the Wolverine Inferno Gen 2. The Kythera simply is louder due to its mechanism clacking and the way the air gets out. It's already quiet, but it can be quieter, talking with silencer and foam. My next build is in the making with the Wolverine Inferno Gen 2 and the VFC Avalon Calibre 2, where I want to test that out. So if you want to know more, please follow along by subscribing. I can't wait to hear your feedback. Please drop me a comment so we can chat about your questions or suggestions. Talk to you again soon, and thank you very much for watching.